So today I wanted to start with the Passover Haggadah, and Elizabeth said she's running late, and I think Francine said she's on her way to Texas.
Yeah, it's not even 25 after yet.
Yeah.
So you're early.
I am early. I've been working for hours now. My rabbi has COVID, and the cantor asked me if I would do the drash for Shabbat, which is usually like a 10-minute speech. So I started working on it the other day, and I sent it to the rabbi, and he gave me a few suggestions. So I scrapped the whole thing and I'm rewriting it. And I have about 1 page. I wrote about 3 or 4 pages already, and I have 1 page left. And it's a lot of work. And I have to get it to him today before we light candles, which is like 5:30. Ah, there she is, Chatty Cathy.
This is Chatty Cathy for those who haven't met her.
She's beautiful. Oh my God, she's gorgeous. Really beautiful.
She's a rescue.
Yeah, so is my cat. My cat is Shadow, and she's black and has a little white on her belly. So I hope this is the Haggadah that I use. And that's what I use at my own Seder. But I have so many different Haggadahs that what I usually do is for English. Hi, Denise.
Hello.
English parts, I have like, I don't know, maybe 15 different Haggadahs. So I look through them each year and I pull out different parts, different readings for different sections. So that also takes a long time to put together. And then there's satire songs, like cooking and cleaning and so many dishes. Yeah, I know we have all those things.
Right.
Denise, can you put your computer screen so that we could see your face? But okay, yes. Sitting up. All right. So I think it'll be a small group today, but that's okay. We're going to spend the next couple of weeks on Passover with songs and prayers and all kinds of goodies. But we're starting today with the cover. So I'm going to start early. I'm going to try to stop exactly at 2:30 because I have to finish writing this speech for tomorrow. And I've got like 2 hours to do it. And I have about a page left to do. So what, of course, me, in my brilliance, I picked something that has to do with nation building, and it goes back. It starts like 3 parshas ago. So I did the 3 preceding parshas fully as to how we were building a nation with God and with laws and with the sanctuary and with the priests. And so I got through all of that. And now I have to just finish up with the parsha for tomorrow, which is Kitisa, which is relationships. That's the inner working, people's psyche. But I did all the external things. Oh, don't ask. Why did I do these things to myself? Okay, Haggadah shel Pesach. So Haggadah comes from the verb lahagid, which in Hebrew means to tell, to relate. So as a noun, Haggadah is a noun. It means the telling or the story. Shel means of. And Pesach is Passover, the passing over. Ah, Diane, how are you? So we have our 2 Dianes. So it's just the telling of the passing over. That's what it means. Haggadah shel Pesach. Ah, good. Okay. So the first thing actually comes the preparation before Passover, before we even get to the search for leaven, is if you are observant, which I am, then there's 4 sets of dishes. There's 4 sets of pots, 4 sets of utensils, 4 sets of everything. So I have, during the year, I use dairy and meat dishes. I have a cabinet in my kitchen, which has the Passover meat dishes, and the dairy dishes are downstairs, which have to be brought up. And all the pots have to be taken out, put in the garage, all the dairy and God love you. God bless you. Everything has to be brought up and all the utensils, and it's a big thing. And of course, I always get the urge to paint right around Passover.
Spring cleaning.
Then I'm painting.
No, I just met a friend of mine. I just found out lives near me. Who's Jewish. We met at the synagogue, and she said she's going to paint her bedroom. She said every year she paints her room.
Yeah, that's what I always used to do, and have flecks on my hair. But anyway, so it's the one thing I do not do in advance, and that is cook. I make gefilte fish. the day before. I make the soup, maybe the day of, the house smells of the fish and the soup and all that stuff. I have never cooked and frozen things. I just do everything is fresh, and the baking and everything is done within 2 days. So this year it's on Wednesday. So probably Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll be up at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning. I'll be cooking, and I'll be no freezing. Everything goes in the refrigerator, and that's it. Everything is fresh. Just the way I've always done it, and that's the way I guess I will until I die. And now, so once the house is prepared and everything is cleaned and dishes, everything is up, then what we do the night before Passover, the bidikat chametz. Livdok means to examine, the examining, the searching, the looking for chametz. So that is on the I didn't send that to you because it's customary to take 10 pieces of bread representing the 10 sons of Haman, who we just hung. I'll have to send you the picture. The costume that I had was a Chinese girl, and there was a whole deal with that. So you have 10 pieces of bread, and you take a candle and put a little piece of tin foil around it, and all the lights are out in the house except your candle. This is the night before Passover. We have to get rid of that by the morning of Passover. So we go in all the rooms. Usually my son does that. He puts a piece of bread someplace where we're going to find it, but in all of those rooms, so 10 pieces of bread. And then it says, before the searching for leaven begins, a candle is lit with which to conduct the search, and the following prayer is recited. And then it says in English, blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us, God bless you,
Bless you.
Vanu al biur chametz, to remove the leaven. So you go searching, and it's fun, and you have a wooden spoon. They usually sell this in the Judaica shops of the synagogue. You have a wooden spoon and a feather and a bag. So somebody holds the bag and somebody has the spoon. And when you find a piece of bread, you take the spoon and you collect it, and somebody holds the bag open and you put it in the bag. When you have all the pieces that have been hidden, hopefully you find them all. You secure the bag, and the next morning around 10 o'clock, you go out and either you bring it to the synagogue. A lot of synagogues have like a big trash can, and they do it communally, burn the chametz, or we always have a dog, so we go out in the back. The dog I have now does not know from Passover digging. The one we had before used to dig the hole, and you put the pieces of bread in there, and you make toast. You put some paper in, hopefully there's not a lot of wind, and you burn it. You burn the chametz. Now your house is clean, and no pretzel. Hi, Nancy. No
Morning.
pretzels, no
Nancy.
cereal, none of that stuff, no pancake mix. They don't even call it Aunt Jemima anymore. Now it's General Mills or something. And all that stuff is out. Your kitchen is clean and nice. Only your Passover stuff is in there. After the search, it says around 10 o'clock, I go outside with the kippah on, and we say this blessing at the burning. We say this: any leaven in my possession, which I have or have not seen, which I have or have not removed, shall be as if it does not exist, as the dust of the earth. I'm absolved now from any crumbs in a pocket or in the closet. Everything is cool. We're good. What's that, Norm? My husband is. Oh, yes. And before this, you have to sell your chametz to your rabbi. There's a format. And this comes from the book of Ruth, and we'll go into that when we get to the book of Ruth. But if you're in his office, he pulls on a handkerchief, and that signifies that the deal has gone forth, and you sold it. Usually he sells it to our Christian secretary, which is fine with me. Now it doesn't even belong to me legally. It's not mine. She has all the chametz of the congregation, and if she wants to eat my Cheerios, she's welcome to them. I don't actually bring them over to her house, but legally she can come to my house and eat it. Okay, So then the next thing, that's the order of this Seder. Now we're getting actually to start with the Seder. So this is all the preambles, and believe you me, the preambles take a long time. So we have this one, the order of the Seder, and we sing it. And there's a little melody. It says, Siman l'Seder Shal Pesach. They don't have vowels on that one. So that's the first thing we do when we're actually starting our Seder, my Seder anyway. We go cover to cover in this thing. We just, we do everything. So it has a, does anyone do this? It goes, I'll sing a little bit and see if it sounds familiar. This is the table of contents. So Seder means order. So we're going to sing the table of contents. Dorothy, does this sound familiar? Did your father do this? Anybody? Okay, Nancy's shaking her head. Shokel mit dem Kopf. Okay, she's shaking her head. So it goes like this. Kadesh urchatz karpas yachatz magid rachza motzi matzah maror korech shulchan orech tzafun barech Hallel Nirtza. And those are all the parts of the Seder. Diane, that's okay. You hear it? You know it? You both, Diane, you're both?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I've not heard it as a song. I mean, I've seen this order, but not as singing.
Okay. So we usually sing it because that's how I learned it. So the first thing it says is a Kiddush, Kadesh. Now, opposite that, you have the picture, which I have on an old Seder plate of all the things. And here is something which I'm always reminded of, that when I was a kid, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. But when I looked at my old Seder plate, there's 6 cups. So I ask you, what's missing? Here's a shank bone. The shank bone is zeroa, the bone, which means the arm. Beitza, egg. That's 2. Bitter herbs, what's that?
Maror.
Maror. Charoset, which is charoset. Charoset is the mortar, that mixture of the wine and the nuts and the apples, right? That's charoset. And parsley, which is karpas. But there's another one that's missing. And it's your second lettuce. It's the romaine. No, I forgot what's the word for romaine. Anyway, it's a romaine, and it's there. I don't have my plate out yet. It's downstairs. And that is when we're making the combination of the maror and it's not Syrah. No, when you have the maror and you put it in, so the romaine, it's like nice, like a little cup, and you can put that together. You can put the maror and the romaine together. Denise, do you remember the word for the romaine? You know what that last one is?
No, but I remember somebody demonstrating this somewhere. I can't remember where. It's
Yeah.
called Maror sandwich, correct? Somebody called it that, yeah.
Yeah, when we do the Hillel sandwich, I'll remember. My brain is on my drush. I'm trying to get that thing done.
I can go check my Seder plate if you want.
Okay, yeah, because there's 6 cups. They
Okay,
all-
I'll go look. I have construction work going on, so I have to stay on mute or you're gonna hear all sorts of things.
Okay, okay. So that's a nice thing to have happen before Passover. Just a house turned upside down. Okay, so then there are 6 places for things. And usually we buy romaine, clean that very well, because Hasidim are very particular. There might be insects in there, might be dirt. You have to super clean that. There comes Nancy with her plate. Okay, Nancy, what's the last one? I can't see it. Can you read it? Oh, let me see. The Zeroa is the arm. Charoset, Chazeret, the one on the bottom, Chazeret. That's for the romaine. That's the second green. So you have, well, that's parsley, but that's the one that you can mix to make the Hillel sandwich. And we give to everybody at the table a piece of the romaine. Thanks, Chazeret. Okay, which this old book doesn't have, and when I was a kid, I looked at this book because my job was put the stuff in the Seder plate. And I'm going, yeah, but there's 5 pictures and there's 6 cups. And what is chazeret? It's the romaine. Thank you, Nancy. Okay, so the order of the Seder, the Kiddush. Now, I think you should read, let's read. We don't have to recite. But I'll say them and read them after me, okay? The order, I sent that to you. Kadesh,
Kadesh,
Orchatz,
Orchat,
Karpas,
Pas,
Yachatz.
Yachatz,
Number 5, Magid,
Magid,
Rachza,
Rachsa,
Motzi Matzah.
Motzi, Matzah,
So that's the blessing like you usually have. Motzi is for challah, but this you're going to say the blessing on the matzah. Maror,
Maror,
Korech,
Korech,
Shulchan Orech.
Shulchan, Orech.
Okay, so Shulchan is a table and Orech comes from it's the prepared table. Shulchan Orech. 11 is Tzafun
Safun,
Barech.
Barech,
You can see that it looks like Baruch because that's the grace after meals. Hallel,
Hallel,
that's the Hallel service in there, parts of Hallel anyway, and Nirtzah.
Nirtzah,
Okay, that's the end. Okay, so the order, and then now the first cup of wine, we drink 4 cups, and you can see each section will have as its title one of the parts of the table of contents. So number 1 was Kadesh, and we know that Kiddush, anything with Kodesh, it means sanctification. So this is the Kiddush is a sanctification of the wine. Okay, Kiddush Shel Pesach, the Passover one. Now there's a little thing that I have learned that I add before some of the sections, which is in the tiny print there, and it's Hineni muchan umzuman, Hineni muchan umzuman, Hineni muchan umzuman, Hineni muchan umzuman, which is Hineni, here I am, muchan, ready, umzuman, I am ready, lekayem, to fulfill, and then it's kos harishon, the first cup, kos, cup, rishon, harishon. So there is, if the festival's on Friday night, you have to add. If it comes out on Shabbat, there are extras to add. We are happy this year it doesn't come out on Shabbat because there's all kinds of restrictions with the cooking and all. You have to cook before because you can't cook on Shabbat, so you have to cook on Friday and you have to do a certain thing, certain blessings. But it's comes out on the first night is Wednesday and the second night is Thursday. So we're saved from Shabbat, from all the special add-ons for Shabbat. So we don't say this stuff that's in the little print, but I think I gave you the Kiddush, right? I sent you the Kiddush. Yes.
You did.
Okay, so there are certain inserts in the Kiddush. So we have also a little bit different melody. It goes, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Okay, that's normal. Okay, yeah. Then it goes, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. And this is special. Asher bachar banu mikol am. Verom mimanu mikol ashon. V'kiddishanu b'mitzvotav. Now we're into the Passover melody. Sound familiar?
Yes.
Vatiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava. Moadim l'simacha. Chagim uzmanim l'sason et yom chag hamatzot hazeh. Zman cherutenu mikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta Ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim u'moadei kodshecha b'simcha u'b'sason hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim. So here's a special wording. So we start with, you have given us, O Lord, with love, Yahavah, Sabbaths for rest, Shabbat, and it starts with Asher Bachar you chose us as the nation. Okay, so the special part is Vikidashtanu b'mitzvotav, and you made us holy with your mitzvahs. Okay, Vatiten lanu, and gave us, and God gave us Eloheinu b'ahav, with love, Moadim, festivals, l'simcha, for rejoicing, Chagim, holidays, uzmanim l'sason, and times for rejoicing. Et Yom Chag Hamatzot Hazeh, and now it mentions Labiyut. You gave us this matzah festival at Yom, the day of Chag Hamatzot, holiday of matzahs, Hazeh, this holiday of matzahs. So there's three, what we call Shalosh Regalim, Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot. So there are three festivals when in ancient times Jews were to walk. These are the Shalosh Regalim, the three walking festivals. Jews would walk to the temple in Jerusalem, and they would offer, they would make offerings. That's on Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Okay, Shalosh Regalim, that's what that term means. So this is one of the, they were three festivals. There's only three festivals that we talk about. This is in time order. This is the first one, because their calendar had Nisan, the month for Passover, as the first month. So why do we get to, so we have like April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Anyway, the seventh month, that's why it doesn't say the first month when we get to Rosh Hashanah, because they considered Passover, Nisan, the first month. Okay, so it doesn't talk, it looks like the seventh month or whatever when we talk about Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the year. Okay, so now the insert words, the special ones to Passover, it's Chag HaMatzot, Zman Cherutenu, time of our freedom, Cherut, freedom, Zman Cherutenu, Mikra Kodesh, a holy occurrence. And now Zecher, in remembrance, Litziat Mitzrayim, the regular, it's not the regular Friday night Kiddush, Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim. Key, because Vanu, in us, you chose us, Kidashta, Otanu Kidashta, you made us holy, Mikol Ha'amim, from all nations. We are special. And then it goes on about happy occasions. But this is the insert special for Passover. You don't have that Friday night about festival of Passover, the season of our freedom. And Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim, in remembrance of leaving Egypt. This is all related to Passover. Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim. Okay, and then at the end, Baruch atah Adonai, blessed are you, Lord our God, Mekadesh Yisrael, who sanctifies Israel, v'hazmanim, and the festivals, the times it really means, okay? The special times, those festivals, the first of which in time order would be Passover. So we have the special Kiddush. So we should read this. Okay, we should read this. Yes, you don't have a chance at. You guys are so funny. Nancy, you cracked me up. We should. This is a Hebrew class. So it has lines, numbers. So how about 8, 9, 10, and 11, Nancy? Read it.
Right.
Okay, Vanu,
No, start with Baruch. Oh, the
oh,
beginning,
8. Wait, you said 8,
the beginning of it.
the beginning, okay, am I starting on what? Where am I starting? At the very
Baruch.
top?
Baruch, yeah,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
good.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol am.
Good, okay, so we're familiar with a lot of these words. Dorothy, from the next page, Viromimanu,
Ramamanu, Mikal,
Mikol,
Mikol, Lason, Vikid Shanu, B'mitzvotav, Vatiten Lanu Adonai, Eloheinu, Va'ahava. What's in the middle there? The little
oh,
stuff.
the Shabbat. So you have to add on Shabbat,
Yeah,
Shabbatot,
Mishpah.
Limnucha, Sabbaths for rest. Okay,
Right.
we don't have to do that because when it doesn't come on Friday or Saturday, Friday night or Saturday night, so we don't have to do that. So Bi'ahava, Moadim,
Moadim, Listimcha. You want me to continue?
okay, let someone else take it over. Denise?
I am completely lost. Where are we?
I don't know, I didn't print out what I.
Line
Are we doing
4.
this? We're doing
Four,
this
yeah,
one,
yeah,
right?
yeah, line 4, Hagim.
Oh, you start, I thought we were doing 8, 9, 10, and, oh, all right.
No, no,
I'm
no,
looking down at the bottom.
No, we started from the top.
All right. Leisim,
On line 4, yeah, L'simcha, good, there.
Leisim ha, Hanim,
Hagim.
Hagim. Uzmanu.
Be carefully, read carefully. Uz ma
Uzmanim.
nim, okay,
Lesason,
mhm,
Lesason,
good.
et. Keep going.
Keep going a little bit.
Yom, Hag, Hamatzra, Ro,
Hamat,
Ro,
it's a plural of matzah.
Hamatzrot.
No, it's not a resh, it's a vav, it's a vowel. Ha, ma,
Hamatzvot.
hamat, sot.
no.
Okay,
Hamatzot.
remember what I taught you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Letter
Hamatzot.
and the vowel, they have to have a
Right.
dancing partner. The hey has a ah, ha.
All right,
And
that's
that's has the ah, ma. So where's the vowel from the tzadi? It's so. Ha,
right.
ma, so, and that's the end of the word. Hamatzot, chag, hamatzot. And the last word in that line is the first one on line 6. And what's that last word?
Hazeh.
Hazeh, good. And then they're using these diamonds here to be like double diamonds that we have. That's the end of the line. So, Diane, Stacy, would you like to read a little bit from line 6 with the word zaman?
Zaman, Hey, Rutenu,
Good.
Mikra, Kodesh, Zeher, Litziat, Mitzrayim. Continue.
A little bit more. Very good.
Ki, Banu, Bahar, Ta, Ve'otanu, Kidash, Ta, Mikol.
Okay, very nice. We didn't have a chance yet. So Nancy read. Diane. Can you unmute just for a little bit?
Yeah, I am unmuted.
Okay, so take it from the first word on line 9.
Ha'amim.
Mhm.
Umoadei Kodshecha Besimcha Uvesason Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Yisrael V'Hazmanim.
Right, and again, you don't have to read those little inserts because the little inserts are only for Shabbat. So we don't have to do that now. So what else did I say? So we have the, all right. So following, if you have a book like this, it tells you if the festival falls on Saturday night, that this year we don't have. Then the Shehech Yanu, because this is the first night of Passover, we would say, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehech Yanu, v'kimanu, v'higianu, lazman hazeh. Okay, the first night of the holiday. Then we have some of these strange things. I invited to my Passover Seder last year, and they're coming again, family. The mother was a student in my ESL class, and we got to be friends, personal friends outside of school. She's from Ecuador, and her husband is from Mexico. And the little girl was born in the United States. So I invited them for my Passover Seder last year. We always invite somebody who's not Jewish, somebody who's never experienced this, because it's a lot of fun for us to show them and teach them. So she came, and we do a lot of shtick, a lot of crazy stuff. There's one point which I get scallions. This is an Iranian custom. And you're supposed to go over to everybody and say, slaves, work harder, work harder. And I tell her, lightly tap them on their shoulder with the scallions, which are supposed to be like a whip.
We
She
do that.
loved that. Yeah, and then there's times when we get to the plagues, we have a lot of crazy stuff. I have a cow. I always forget her name. It's a Jewish name I give her, like a Jewish cow. Mrs. Holstein, I have her stomach. And when it comes to the cattle disease, I go moo, and I turn her down like that, and I roll her over. She's dead. And when we get to hail, we throw ping pong balls, and lice. I have rice, and we have masks. No, well, I mean, just to throw people. And we have masks a kit of masks that I got from the synagogue. So we have all these like little toys. And we use, they're like little pull toys, and they creep, there's like little creepy crawlies. Anyway, it's just a lot of fun to share this with someone who's never seen this kind of weirdness, and they wonder like, what is this?
I think we're nuts.
The little girl read all the 4 questions and so we join in, Halayla Hazeh, but I had to read them in English. So I give her different parts, different things to do, so she loves it. And this year I invited my vocational advisor who's not Jewish, and she was indignant. She said, you invited them, how come you didn't invite me? So I invited her this year. Everybody wants to have a place at the table. They know it's crazy. Like later on in the service, towards the very end, somebody is Elijah. So we put a robe, one of my husband's robes, on them, and we have a big walking stick, and we put a shmata on the head, so it looks like a pharaoh's, like one of those head coverings. And I tell them to, I let them go around. They go around from the back. They come to the front door. We open the door, and we all sing Eliyahu Hanavi. Elijah the prophet comes in, and we have the cup, we sing, we hold a cup of Elijah, and there's a lot of craziness that goes on in this house on Passover. Every year it gets weirder. Okay, so washing the hands, I have a basin, and everybody, so we go around, and we lean on the left, and some have pillows. You drink the first cup of wine, and it says orchatz, and if you go back to the table of contents, Kadesh, Kadesh, or Chatz. That's Rachatz is washing. It says, reclining on the left side, drink the first cup of wine, and you wash your hands. Everybody washes their hands, but don't say the blessing, because we're not going to eat the food at this point. So we're going to eat the green vegetable, which is the parsley. So I have a couple of cups of parsley in salt water around the tables. We should have like 2 big tables or more. And they wash their hands, but eat the green vegetable, that's the karpas, and dip it in salt water or vinegar. And they say, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'adamah. Adamah is ground, because parsley grows in the ground. It's an herb which grows in the ground. So we're blessing the fruit of the earth. Pri ha'adamah. Okay. All right, then, okay, we're not doing any of the Saturday stuff. Then, we have a matzah tray. If you have a special matzah tray, you're supposed to have 3 matzahs. One of the symbolic reasons, it's the 3 tribes, the Kohanes, the Levites, and the Israelites. And you're supposed to break the middle matzah. Now, half of it, you take away. So it says the leader of the Seder breaks the middle matzah in the plate and leaving only half of it there, puts aside the other half until after the meal for the afikomen. So my husband usually we break the middle matzah and he takes the half of what's broken. And I have a little thing that the kids have made in Hebrew school many, many years ago. And we put it in the afikomen bag. Okay. And he hides it. And so very towards the end of the Seder, the children are now in their 30s and 40s, the kids. So I have this little one now. Now I have a little one. So my little girl, Camila, I get her a present and she goes and looks and last year she had never done it before. So we have to give her like a hot and cold. We have to give her like some hints. She finds it. Oh, she found it. Hooray. Camila found the afikomen and she gets her prize. But so the bigger kids, not to be outdone, either get like an Israeli chocolate bar, or for the boys, a sports magazine, and girls magazine that they like. Everybody gets something. Everybody gets, even the old kids, because if I didn't, I'd hear from them. So everybody gets something. No person goes out without a gift. Okay, now Magid is from the same root, lahagid, which means to tell. So Magid is the telling. And uncover the matzah, lift the plate. The recital of the Passover story begins. So this is something that I like to do. It's a melody. This is the bread of affliction. Okay. And I'll tell you that once many years ago when I was 13, my friends and I was the only Jewish one, I think, in the crowd, but 4 of us went to Radio City Music Hall in Manhattan. And one of them offered me a chocolate-covered matzah. And I was stunned. I said, that's not bread of affliction, that's yummy. I had never had in my house before, we had never had in our house a chocolate-covered matzah. And I was like, it's like I was so astonished. I was almost insulted. How can you offer this to me? It's a bread of affliction. Matzah is supposed to ruin your digestive system for a week. You're supposed to have the prunes in the morning to counteract some bread of affliction. So not supposed to be sweet. Anyway, this is the bread of affliction, which our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. I don't know what they used. I don't know if they had prunes in the desert, but anyway. So this is the melody. Halachma, halachma, anya, di achalu, achalu avahatana be'ara de Mitzrayim, kol dichbin yete ve'yechul, kol ditzrich yete ve'yivsach, hashata hacha lishana haba be'ara de Yisrael hashata avde lishana haba b'nei horim. So the last line says, so they say, it says hashana hacha now, Lishana Haba next year, Be'arad Yisrael will be in the land of Israel. Hashata Avdei. Now we are slaves. Hashana Haba'a next year. B'nei Chorin. We will be the sons of free people. We will be free. And that's an introduction to the 4 questions. It kind of has like an Arabic melody, like a da, 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 that kind of a melody. So, okay. And this begins a whole frame of mind about slavery. We're supposed to be enacting this whole ritual of going from slavery to freedom. That's what the whole story is about. Now we are slaves. Next year, may we be free. The plate is put down, the matzah is covered, and the second cup of wine is spilled. Now, the youngest, so like I say to my crew, the youngest used to be in the 40s. The 4 questions have 2 different melodies that you may know. One, it goes like this. Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol halelot shebachol halelot. That's one. Anyone ever hear that? Okay. But the one that we sang is Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol halelot, which is a question. Manishtana. What's the difference? What's the change? Halayla, Laila is night, Hazeh in this night, from all, Mikol, Halaylot, from all nights. And then we get on with the 4 questions, but that's the introductory. How is this night different from all other nights? Okay, now we actually go through the 4 questions that you're used to. Is anybody familiar with that melody?
Mhm.
Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol halaylot.
Not that one.
That one, that's familiar?
Yes.
So now we're going to do the questions, and it goes like this. The first one, Shebechol halelot. So this is kind of a singy thing. Shebechol halelot anu ochlin chametz umatzah. That's what the kids learn in Hebrew school. Chametz umatzah halayla hazeh halayla hazeh kulo matzah. Halayla hazeh, and everybody joins in on that one. Halayla hazeh kulo matzah. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Okay, when you were a kid, you might have learned that. Charlene, you're muted. Charlene's, you've never heard that?
Not that way, no.
Do you have another way to do it?
Yeah, but I don't dare sing it.
Oh, okay, we are okay. Our ears are fine. Anyway, so
Not that fine.
it's so you can either do it. Manishana halayla hazeh mikol halelot. That's the introduction. It's more of a talky kind of thing. Shebachol halelot anu ochlim hametzu matzah. That sounds more Hasidic. Halayla hazeh kulo matzah. But that's not the way we do it at our Seder. We do it with shebachol. Okay, so who would like to read the first question? Make believe you're 6 years old again. When I taught the kids in Hebrew school, in Zion class, they're 12 and 13. This is the way we taught them. The whole Hebrew school did it this way. So when we had a model Seder, everybody was in the same thing. Okay. Who would like to be my kid and do Shebechol Halelot? Nancy, you
I
will. Oh, Denise
Go, Denise.
saved you. Go ahead, Denise.
Do I have to sing it?
Yes, you do.
Oh, goodness.
I said, make believe you're a
You have to
kid.
I know, but you have to remember, this is I wasn't raised Jewish, so this is like not in my brain. I'll do my best.
Okay.
All you can do.
Shebeka halelot anu ochlim hametz umatzah.
You're doing great.
Hale-
And then repeat it. Chametz.
umatzah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Laila hazeh, halayla hazeh, like that.
Kulo matzah.
And everybody join in with halayla.
Halayla hazeh,
halayla
hazeh,
kulo
matzah.
So everybody around the table who has once had the torture of doing this as a kid in front of guests, they all know that, and it brings back those tortured memories. I remember practicing that before the Seder, being nervous that I was going to screw it up. Because that's their sterling part, right? That's the part that the kids have to do. What we usually do is we go around, we take any of the youngins in their 40s, their 30s, And they, each one takes one question. So on all other nights, we may eat either leavened, that's chametz or chametz, or matzah. On this night, halayla, the night this, halayla hazeh, kulo, only matzah, right? That's the matzah question. The next one
So
is.
that's
gonna
not a
be
question, right? The first one is
No,
a question
on
before the
halayla
one.
hazeh, only matzah on all, yeah, it's the 4 statements, right?
Great.
It's really only one question. Why is this night different? And yes, these are statements. And if you look in your Haggadah, there's no question mark. You're
Oh.
absolutely right. It's a statement. On all other nights, we can eat chametz, we could eat pretzels, potato chips, all that. Oh, that kosher from Passover, potato chips. Chametz or matzah. We can eat chametz and we can eat matzah. Now, I have to tell you, I do not have, in my house, I do not eat any matzah products during the year. I don't use matzah meal.
Right. Oh,
And I don't eat matzahs, not tam-tams, not any form of matzahs. Because I love this holiday so much, it's my ultra favorite holiday. For me, it would be like having ice cream all the time. I love the Passover food. I absolutely love Passover food. And my favorite of all is when I make my own matzah brie. Now, my husband comes from a family, his 2 maiden aunts were Swiss, and his father was born in Switzerland. They made sweet matzah brie, which
Mhm.
I thought was like, oh, what is this stuff? What is sweet matzah brie? I'm coming from a Russian and Polish background where everything is onions and garlic. So my matzah brie, and when his aunts came to my house one day and they had breakfast in my house, they came in the kitchen, they said to me, why does this we smell? Garlic? Onions? What are you making? I said, I'm making matzah brie. And they were so horrified. I can't tell you. But I look forward to that one week when I can have stuffed myself with matzah brie, which I absolutely love. It's my favorite. That's that. And I love the gefilte fish. And that's my favorites. So now we get to maror, the bitter herbs. So what do you guys use for bitter herbs?
Horseradish.
Horseradish.
Okay. So we usually buy a real horseradish. And
Right.
we go to the kosher market, where I get my kosher meat. And if we get that, like what my Hasidic son-in-law does, he gets a horseradish and he gets the peel off, okay? Then he puts it in a blender or something, and he has it in little tiny pieces. And he takes scoops of that. And I think I could see the tears in his eyes when he takes a tremendous amount of it. If we get a real horseradish, we peel it and then we cut up just like little tiny pieces that you can have. So you can eat bitter herbs, but it's not going to cause you to cry. Shebechol halelot anu ochlin she'ar yerakot she'ar yerakot halayla hazeh maror, maror. Join in, halayla. So maror is bitterness and bitter herbs. Okay, I need somebody to sing the second statement. It's not really a question.
Wait.
Who wants to do it? Dorothy, you want to do that? The second?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Shebachol halelot anu ochlim she'ar yirakot she'ar yirakot halayla
Halayla maror. Everybody, maror. Halayla maror. Okay, so we now have, we can eat no chametz, and we can eat, we're supposed to eat maror. When we get to the third question, it's about dipping. So this is something which we don't ordinarily do. Okay, so we're doing these things, and if there are little kids, one one way to teach them is by doing. You're doing something different. They'll ask a question. Why are you dipping those things in salt water? What's going on? Okay, so it's on all other nights we are not bidden to dip our vegetables even once. I think the Romans did this, but we don't have salt water on the table when we have our regular meals. But on this night in particular, we have just dipped the parsley in salt water before and said a blessing. And now we're saying we're going to dip things twice, the vegetables. So this is second dipping. So they have Shebechol Halelim Halelot Ein Anu Matbilin. A lot of people get stuck on that word. It's mat, like matzah applesauce, because there's a mem and a tet.
Oh,
It's not mom, it's mat. Matbilin. So we're singing this in Aramaic. Afilu pa'am echat. Afilu pa'am echat. Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh. Shete ve'amim. Because pa'am is time and ve'amim is times. Shte is two. Chat, shtayim, shtay, 2 times. Shtay ve'amim. So now we're dipping things twice. And don't forget, we dip that we put the maror and the charoset together later on. So we dip one in the other. And we don't have any of this stuff at a regular meal. You don't have horseradish. And you're not putting maror and the horseradish together. You're not putting that stuff. My brain is on overload. Maror and what is the other one?
Roasted?
Roasted and maror. Thank you. You're not putting those together. You don't even eating those. That's symbolic food. We don't have that at a normal meal. So everything is like, it's a little bit different here. Okay. By the way, there's 2 ways to make charoset. There's the regular way, the Ashkenazic way, which I'm not that fond of, which you take apples and you take walnuts and you put some wine and you chop it up and maybe a little cinnamon and sugar. I have a friend who is a Jew by choice. She's a convert. She makes the best charoset. She makes Sephardic charoset. And she's a good friend. And every year she gives me a little cup of it. And she makes it like a week or so before Passover. And it has, if you've ever looked for a recipe for Sephardic, it has bananas and it has dates and date syrup. It has all those good things, all that yummy stuff. And it does have nuts. So she knows that I love that. And she gives me some of that Sephardic charoset. I eat that. In fact, I could eat that all year round, but I don't. And I'll let everybody else eat the Ashkenazic charoset, which I don't like. Okay, so now we get to, did somebody do the third question? No. Somebody has to read the third question. Who's going to read the third question? Who wants to read? Then Diane, you want to read? Diane Gensler, you want to read the third question?
Sure.
The one
We
about
didn't-
dipping.
We didn't just do that one?
Yeah, but I want you to do it.
Oh.
That is
Oh,
doing it.
that's fine. Okay. Shebechol halelot ein anu matbilin afilu pa'am echat afilu pa'am echat halayla hazeh shetei pe'amim halayla hazeh shetei pe'amim.
Beautiful, beautiful. So now the fourth one, and all other nights we eat our meals in any way. Shebechol halelot anu ochlin. Ochlin is Aramaic, ochlim in modern Hebrew. We eat between yoshvin, sitting, uvein misubin. Misubin is leaning. Okay, so really you're supposed to have a pillow. Because a free person, the Romans, not the slaves, the free men, they were on a couch eating and they leaning on a pillow and dropping the grapes in their mouth. So we used to give to the leader and maybe, a couple of people a pillow. So now nice and free fashion. Between sitting and between leaning, halayla hazeh kulanu, all of us, misubin, we are all leaning. We are all like those free Romans, not like slaves. We are all leaning, okay? So give a couple of the people a pillow and they can lean to the left, and you can say, okay, 1, 2, 3, everybody lean. You can have some fun with it. Okay, so. Shebechol halelot anu ochlin, ben yoshvin uvein misubin, ben yoshvin uvein misubin, halayla hazeh, kulan misubin, halayla hazeh, kulan misubin. We are all leaning, we're all free people tonight, okay? So I gave you the order, I gave you the Kiddush, I gave you the Seder plate and the 4 questions. Now, something that I wanted to show you, I always would show my students, we sing, the next thing is the answer. So we have the questions. So we want to know about we were slaves and we were in Egypt and blah, blah, blah. Avadim is slaves. Avadim hayinu, we were slaves, LePharaoh, B'Mitzrayim, B'Pharaoh, I didn't give you this, B'Pharaoh, B'Mitzrayim. Yotzianu Adonai Eloheinu. Okay, so we sing this song and it goes like this. You probably have heard this. Avadim hayinu, Pharaoh b'Mitzrayim, Avadim hayinu. Now here is, where are these words? Ata, b'nei chorin, which means now we are the sons of free men. Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei horin. And I've asked my students in the past, in the Zion class, where are those words? Well, those words will come from another, let me see, another prayer. It comes a little later where it talks about we are the sons of free men. I can't find it right now, but for next week I will show it to you. So it's it takes those words B'nei Horin from another prayer, which I'll do with you next week. So it says Avadim hayinu, we were slaves. Le Pharaoh, to Pharaoh, Be, in Mitzrayim, in Egypt. And then it says, and Yotzianu, and God, Yotzianu Adonai, God took us out. Yotzianu Adonai Eloheinu Misham. Yad Chazakah, with a strong hand, Uvizroa Nituya, and with an arm, an outstretched arm. And we have the Zeroa. I don't know if you use that, but some people have the habit of going back to the Seder plate because it's interesting what people do. Some people use a chicken bone. My daughter, who's very from, she's Lubavitch, she uses a chicken bone. We go to the kosher place where we get meat. Well, sometimes we've actually gotten a lamb shank, but that's like expensive because nobody eats that. And to spend $5 or whatever on a lamb shank and we would throw it out, give it to the dog, that's silly. So we use, they give you a piece, they give you a bone. If you go to a kosher store, kosher meat store, they give you a bone. It's a shank bone. It's like a lamb bone. And when you're cooking some of your stuff, we put it on tin foil and put it in the oven so that it gets like a little burnt looking. And that's what we use on the Seder plate. So not everybody, going back to that, everybody can do a hard-boiled egg. Sephardic Jews take that egg and they make a brown egg. They let it cook, I think, for many hours. You know about that, Nancy?
Right. We have a lot of Sephardim in Seattle. So
Ah,
we've been to some Sephardic Seders.
okay.
so-
So what do they use? Do they have that brown egg? It's been
They
like
have their brown egg, and when you were talking before about hitting with the green
scallions.
onions, they
Yes.
put it in a sack, the
Uh-huh.
green onions in a sack, and they pass it around from person to person, and you hold it over your shoulder like it's your burden for a certain amount of the Seder, and then you pass it along to the next person.
Yeah, my son-in-law, well, what we used to do is we would all stand and we would go around the table, and there's a place where he says, you know, we left Egypt with like our garments, just our garments and our sandals. And we would go around the table, actually I had them walk around the table, you're coming out of Egypt. And then he asked in Aramaic, I think, what are you taking with you? And so I would ask the same question, what are you going to take with you? You know, they might say my dog, I'm going to take, you know, my whatever they like, I'm going to take my computer, I'm taking my video games, you know, I mean, this is 2023. So everybody would say something funny, and that's what they're taking. We never did it with the bundle of scallions, but we do that. And my son-in-law does that. And we go and we say that, we walk around the table. Okay, so that's the shank bone and the egg. And there's some really nice customs. And they, I think the Sephardim, they take some matzahs and they put it in a cloth and they swing it around their head. Did you ever see that? And they go, la, 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 the ululation, they do that. The bit of herbs, everybody pretty much the same thing. The charoset, like I say, the one that's Sephardic is delicious. Now the parsley. So in some places in Northern Europe, like where my ancestors came, Russia and Poland and Germany, at this time of year, it's still cold. So the parsley has not come up. Okay, that's the herb. It needs a little warmer, like sunshine. So another custom is they take a potato, because the potatoes will come up. The potatoes will be in the ground. And sometimes if the potato is green, don't eat it, because then it's not really fully ripe and might get sick. But they'll take a potato and a boiled potato, and they'll put it instead of the parsley because that's what they had available. All right, so you know, it's interesting here. They'll say they don't tell you about those things, but those are some of the customs, which are really interesting, you know. And oh yeah, we used to have a walking stick too when it's like a really windy and stuff. I have it in the garage. We have a stick that's come down from a tree, and we pass the walking stick around, and people say, we say, where, as my son-in-law says too, where are you coming from? And then they say, Mitzrayim, and where are you going? And they say, Yisrael. So what are you taking with you? And that's the thing. So
I have a question.
yeah.
How does the egg get brown? Is it, do they cook it? It's out of the shell
Put
and
it
then
in
they
the
brown it?
oven.
In the
Put it-
oven.
Put a
Take it
hard
out
boiled
of the
egg.
shell?
No, the shell, in the shell.
Okay,
Put an egg in the shell, in the oven. And if you bake it a long time, put it on bake, so 50 or something, it'll get brown.
okay. I just
So
wondered.
what we have done is I will put an egg in, like when I'm making a stuffing or something like that,
Right.
and it'll get a little browned. You could also take a match and just put it to the tip of it, and it'll look like it's,
Yeah, that's what we do.
yeah, you can do that.
Burn
I
it
mean,
with a match.
so, what does the egg signify? It could be a burnt
Life.
offering, but it could also be, and this is a fun thing to say, that's the only food that the more you cook it, the harder it gets. They say it's true, because if you, the egg will be like almost like rubber at the outside if you cook it, overcook it. And they say that that represents the Jewish people. The more hot water you put us in, the stronger we get. Okay, so that's something that you can say, and that's what, that we say that too. Now, I will get to this later, but at this time of year, I'm getting so many asks for money. So I usually, at the beginning of the Seder, people that don't know each other, we introduce each other, we welcome everybody, and then I say, in your honor and in honor of the holiday, the Chag, we have made a contribution. I usually make $100 contribution to a charity, which I feel that year, I feel a lot for. Sometimes it's been American, it's a worldwide, not American Jewish Committee, but it's like, what's that one that we? Oh, so one year I did it for the kitchen, Jose Andres, he's from Spain, and he sets up a mobile kitchen every place, like in Ukraine, to help people anywhere there's a catastrophe. He sets up a kitchen. So we gave money to that. Sometimes, no, not that's all. one time I gave it to, there's a place in Israel for the elderly. And I've given it to them for immigrants. Or you've given it to JNF. They have a fund for water. For water, not just the regular JNF for trees, but it's water for water irrigation. So I find a charity that's something related, a Jewish charity, and we give a contribution, a nice contribution. I think this year in my ESL class, I have a guy from Turkey. And I said to him, if I make a donation to Turkey, what's the best one that will be used? He said, well, like you have the Red Cross, we have the Red Crescent. He said, but don't give to the Red Crescent because that's part of the government. It won't get to people. So I said, so where would I give? And he gave me a volunteer organization, which I'm going to send money to. And if I get a certificate or something like that, we'll show it to them, and it says in honor of Greenberg Seder guests and stuff like that. It's just a tradition we've done because it's nice to give tzedakah at this time. So I will send you for next year. We will continue. Now there are a lot of songs and there's a lot of things, but I will pull out the main things. So after the questions begin the story. And I usually will do the 4 sons. There's 4 sons, there's 4 questions, there's 4 cups. So we do this little introduction to the 4 sons. And anyway, I have it all, spelled out of what. And then when we get to the plagues, we'll do the 10 plagues. And then, of course, then you have songs at the end. You have Dayenu. There's about 4 verses for Dayenu. And then you get to the matzah and the maror, Rabban Gamliel. So, I'll send you all those parts. And then there's a lot of fun songs. Of course, the last one is really fun, is the Chad Gadya. And that's in Aramaic. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya, Dizab bin Abba Bidre Zuze. And everybody joins in. And then Who Knows One? Who Knows One can be done different ways. You can do it in English or Hebrew. Does this sound familiar? Echad mi yodeya, Echad ani yodeya. So we do that one. Then that goes around to everybody. Everybody gets a number, Who Knows One, and then Who Knows Two. I'll teach you how to do that. You can do it in English, you can do it in Hebrew, and it's a lot of fun, and everybody gets included, whether they know Hebrew or not. If their native language is English, you can do it like that. Who Knows One? I'll teach you how to do it like that.
I know one.
I know one. And then one is Hashem, one is Hashem in the heaven and earth. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. At the end of our Seder, I'm just jumping ahead a little bit. The end of our Seder, I stand with an Israeli flag and an American flag. We don't sing the Star Spangled Banner, but we sing Hatikva. I make everybody stand. I make everybody crazy. So we sing Hatikva because at the end it says next year in Jerusalem. So L'Shana Haba, L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim. This year, I'm going on a cruise, and hopefully, when we are outside of Ashdod, it goes on the coast. It's with Holland America in the Mediterranean. I will get to Yerushalayim. So maybe this year in Jerusalem, and when I get to Haifa, maybe I will get to what another favorite city is, Tzfat. So there'll be, I don't want to go to Haifa. I've been to Haifa. I want to go to Tzfat again, which is a holy city. So you never know what things will happen. I just hope that we'll stay healthy so we'll be able to do it. It's a 12-day cruise, and we'll be seeing, go to Venice first. We'll go to a little bit of Italy, Greece, Israel. We'll go to Cyprus. So it should be fun. So it's in honor of our special anniversary, which we didn't celebrate at 50. We passed 50.
Oh, God bless you.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
In August, it's going to be 55 years, but we didn't celebrate 50. So we said, we deserve a celebration.
Yes, you do.
And when are you going?
We're going in June.
Okay.
Going in June for, I
Where-
think, 12 days.
Where are you sailing out of?
Venice. So we
Wow.
have to fly to Venice and we'll get about a day there. I want to go to the Jewish.
Yeah, you have to go to the Jewish
Yeah, go
section.
to the Jewish neighborhood,
Absolutely.
yes.
Oh, have you
Yeah.
been there, Dorothy? Have you
Mhm.
been there?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I think though it might be a Sunday, so I don't think we'll be able to, see any services, but I just want to go there,
Mhm.
that's, I'm gonna be
We didn't
investing.
go services, but we walked around. And we
Yeah,
saw-
yeah. I want to go to that. And
Mhm.
to preparing to get me in the mood for that, I've been reading mystery books by Donna Leon.
Oh,
And then-
yes.
That in Venice, I
Oh,
read 3 of them recently. I must have read at least a half a dozen of those books. So, and they always have a map and it's Commissario Brunetti. So
Yep.
I'm going to get back and finish my drash.
Go ahead, good luck.
I is what I can say. I'm reconstructing this whole thing. I'm rewriting it and I think I have 4 pages done already. I need about 1 more page. And then I'll call it quits. I'm going to send it to the rabbi before 5:30.
Go. Thank you for playing.
All right, I'll see you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Hey, Carol, this was
Shalom.
really, I really
Shabbat
enjoyed it.
shalom. Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.